Good day, this is E.T. in my lovely outdoor studio. I'm here to try and introduce to the world a new economic philosophy called cooperacy. It involves the people becoming incorporated into the fiscal system rather than being serfs and slaves and victims to the bad math policies that corporate politicians have been engaged in over the last 3 generations or so. There's enough information on the net to explain what corporate politicians have been doing working with the central banks. Everyone wants to blame the central banks. I don't. I want to blame corporate politicians who make the policies that are then voted on in democracies. Often these policies are deceitful and they're made for purely the transfer of the fiscal economy towards those within the corporate system, but by the same time engaging enough of the people en masse to then emotionally create an attachment to that policy, so enough keep voting for it. And you build up the numbers over the generations, so the generations are actually voting but to what they think is beneficial because they're trapped into a contract, but it's actually detrimental to their fiscal, financial future and their children's future. What cooperacy does, and it's already a fully articulated system, it allows borrowing of money, which is at negative interest rates and low interest rates, to place it into the public realm so they can invest it, in Australia's case, in a national saving system, which then becomes a fund over time because the way the money is accrued, that assures there are no problems for pensions and there are no unemployment problems. The word unemployment itself needs to be dropped from the lexicon. It no longer has any meaning because unemployment is the result of fluctuations in economics globally. The global deficit system, which has been created and acted on by politicians, has purposely been for the removal of foundation capital assets, which are then the means to support the basic amenities and welfare of the people. They've been removed and the people are being given the deficit, so they have to borrow, governments have to borrow more and more money to fund what they are, say, are political promises. Then it starts to punish what is called the unemployed rather than face the fact what is corporate welfare that it gives into, that is the serious problem facing the people. Cooperacy, which I'll give a series of talks on, will remedy this because it uses evolutionary theory, and that is by what we do now, what we invest in now, has a positive and a practical, pragmatic, progressive aim towards a 22-hour week for all by about 2040, taking into consideration robots and computers and the lack of work from the growing number of people. Corporate politicians cannot face the fact there's a growing number of people who will never be employed in the normal system, and yet they have no practical ideas how to utilize this labour force to cut cost in aged care, to cut cost in housing, to cut cost in energy, and to cut cost in hospitals and many other practical services society needs. Cooperative uses negative interest money that's easily attained on the market, invest it into the people by giving the people on the dole more money, probably $20 a week more immediately because they need it. That goes into the economy. Part of that money, though, is taken off them to be created into a consolidating fund that's accumulated over the years on their behalf. And if they can become involved in what it is in community services, they are rewarded with extra funding, which goes then towards their pension. Life is not all about money. Life is about people. Economy is about people. It is no good a few getting all too rich and many more getting so poor and creating a lot of homeless, because the homelessness is created on purpose, a lot of it, by making rents and electricity costs so high people can't afford to pay for them, to get kicked out on the street, and it's done to show an example to those who will not comply with this system. The system belongs in 1394, circa about when London became a corporation, it began removing the democratic rights from the people in London at that particular time. This system that they're running the economies with is a pre-Adam Smith system. It's ancient, it's primitive, it's barbaric, it's inhumane, and taking human rights away to ask simple questions, because if you ask questions you will then be attacked by the left for having the audacity to do something they're not capable of doing, speaking out, speaking free of fear. Thank you. This is E.T. coming to you from a lovely spring day in Australia.